Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deckin Around. My name's Tyler,
I'm Steve.
and today we are so excited to have Anna DeGuzman on the show. If you don't know Anna, she is an amazing female magician, cardist. You've probably seen her on Penn and Teller's Fool Us and a multitude of other amazing magically oriented shows. Anna, we've been trying to get Anna on for a while now, and we really are just so excited to have her on. She is absolutely a up-and-comer in the magic community. Honestly, I don't even want to say an up-and-comer. I feel like at this point she's already an established personality within this community and is just going to continue to grow.
Yeah, she's been around, man. She's been, kind of intertwined with all the big names, and like you said, we've been waiting to have her on, and she's here. We got her.
It's going to be an exciting episode, that's for sure. But before we jump into it, guys, do make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Every like helps, and we really do appreciate them. And we're going to take a quick word from our sponsors here.
Hummingbird Feathers mimics the shimmer of a hummingbird in motion. Meticulously created with a specialized printing process using multiple holographic foils. Stunning tuck design and sculpted embossing with master letterpress creation. Featuring limited, standard, and gilded 3-deck sets. Pre-order yours today at marvelousdecks.com.
So
And
Steve,
ring the bell.
Did I cut you off on the ring the bell earlier? My bad.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Well, everybody, without further ado, we are so excited. This is going to be an amazing episode. Everybody, welcome Anna DeGuzman.
Anna, hey, she made it.
How you doing today, Anna?
I'm
So hold
well,
on.
thank you.
I have a question. Is it Anna or Anna?
I respond to both, honestly. I
So what's the actual way to say your name?
I would say Anna, but like
Anna, okay.
it's the same.
Perfect.
Okay. We just wanted to make sure.
I think that's a valid question. I think in this day and age, we make so many assumptions about names and how people pronounce it. And it's so much easier to just be like, hey, how do you prefer someone says your name? So it's definitely one of those things that in this day and age, you just gotta be sensitive about it, I guess, right?
I think everyone's too sensitive all the time about everything.
Alright.
That's true.
Some people get really offended by like how you pronounce your name. I'm like, I know what you meant. It's fine.
There you go. Well, see, and I think that's good. You're willing to roll with the punches with it as well. So again, we're so excited to have you on the show. We've really obviously been working on getting this together for a while now, and it's finally come to happen here. So how's life been treating you lately? How's everything in the pandemic been treating you?
It's been hard. I'm not even gonna front with anybody. It's hard. It's been like a really weird time, but I've been trying to make the best of it recently. And really trying to turn around my attitude about it. I was really depressed, honestly, in the beginning of quarantine because I just felt like my shows were canceled. Obviously, anything I was booked for, and I was like, I've never done anything else. Like, this is what I do. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life, and I didn't really see when is this over and what am I gonna do in the meantime. And then more recently, I've been figuring it out and keeping busy and looking at other opportunities outside of magic.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
but
definitely been, I think, a shock for a lot of people, whether it's magic, music. I have a lot of musician friends and, people that are so used to touring, whether it's doing magic shows or concerts and stuff like that. I think everybody was just, oh my God, I'm a photographer. So when all this hit, nobody wanted their picture taken. Everyone was like, stay away from me, and it's kind of still kind of has that effect, now. But how did you find yourself? Because I found that I was, for the first time in my life, kind of in a depressed state as well, so what have you done to kind of pull yourself out of that, if you have,
It took a while. I think I just really needed to take a step back with everything because it was very overwhelming because okay, you're depressed, so it makes everything else harder. Just like day-to-day tasks that are necessary, and then add on top of that you have to work, and then like friends or family, so I just really had to stop everything and just focus on myself and do it one step at a time. So I was fortunate enough to where like I was able to take a break. So like I was super down, and then I got that Microsoft gig, the Surface commercial. That was literally out of nowhere. Andre Zick actually was the one that recommended me for it, so that's how I even got it.
That's awesome.
An agency or anything, it was just like because he was in contact with them and they wanted a cast of magicians, like, and they wanted a female. Of course, like he recommended me.
That's
and
awesome.
without that, I don't think I really would have been. I really don't know what would have happened, because that was the thing that really motivated me. And I was like, okay, there is still work. There's still opportunities out there. I didn't really do any work during quarantine in the beginning. I maybe did like a couple Zoom shows, and those were very unfulfilling. When I got the Microsoft gig, that was one of the biggest gigs I've ever gotten, and one of the biggest brands I've ever gotten.
Yep.
Uh-oh. We have a glitch.
We have a little bit of a Wi-Fi snafu here. We'll see if this recovers or if she has to drop back in. But we had these little hiccups during the testing as well, so this isn't wholly unexpected, though we had hoped that it would have held off.
Yeah, she's back.
Yes.
Wait, where did it get off?
Saying that it was your best, your best gig that you
Oh,
got.
okay, cool. So yeah, it was like the best, like one of the biggest brands I've gotten to work with. And that was the thing that really pulled me out of that slump, because it gave me the motivation. One, being around other magicians again. It was weird on set because, it was like we had to wear masks, we had to get tested. So we weren't, all really hanging out that much, but still being in that environment again where you're around people and also being creative. That was really good for me. Because we were, because they wanted, I don't know if I'm allowed to even say all this, but I don't think it's necessarily bad. Like, we came in early before the actual shoot date so that we could be tested and quarantined. Mm-hmm. So we were living in the hotel for like a week, maybe like 5 days or something. I don't remember.
Oh, wow.
But during that time, like people don't know this. I was literally like homeless. I was like in between moving. And they didn't know, like I live in LA. Everyone else flew in from like Vegas, wherever, to do this commercial. They shot in LA. I live in LA. I don't technically need a place I don't need to stay in the hotel, right? If people know how like movies and sets work, like if you live in the area that they're shooting, you don't necessarily have to get lodging a part of your agreement. I was in the middle of a move. I didn't have a place yet. And so I needed to stay in that hotel. Like when they offered to house me, people didn't know that I was really like, I need a place to stay for like a week. And luckily it was like a week because I needed it. Like I came with all my stuff on top of that. So like, I'm like dealing with a lot of stress of like not having a place to live and moving, having all my stuff on me that I brought to the hotel. And then on top of that, just then having to go on set and actually like perform and practice and like show like that I'm fine. And then,
they're bringing 6 bags of clothes, and they're like, "Oh God, here, a bridge must be behind me."
Like no one would know. I mean, like I don't even think like any of the other magicians really knew my situation, because obviously I wasn't like really talking about it because I didn't feel like it was like the time and place. And then we shot, and then this is at end of July, early August.
So like right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like I was just waiting because I was like, okay, I don't know what to do, but I felt a little bit better. And then I financially felt like I had a cushion to like figure my stuff out, because at first I was like, okay, like with quarantine, I don't want to be alone. Maybe I just like crash with friends, whatever. Because I was living like, I've always like, I'm an only child, so I've always been on my own. And then I was like, no, I can't like rely on other people. I need to figure it out. And like, I didn't believe in myself enough until I like realized like I can take care of myself. Like, why am I struggling? Like, I can afford a place. Like, why don't you get a place? So then I got a place. And then that was like the first step, like stabilizing my living situation. And then from there, that was like step 1. Like everything, I like could not do any other kind of work until I did that, because I felt like I couldn't give 100% of myself to anything.
Yeah,
and my home was in order. And then once I stabilized my home, it was like my mental health. So I do like really, this is so not magic. This is so not magic what we're talking about. That's just because
Welcome to Deckin Around, Anna.
See,
Welcome
we
to
get off
Deckin
on
Around.
crazy tangents real quick.
I'm sure we're going to talk about pizza and guacamole sometime tonight.
I told you guys, like, food is like my other passion besides magic. I love cooking. I love eating.
It's a good passion to have.
Now, did you gain the COVID-20 or what?
I'm losing the COVID-20 right now. I probably
Nice, because
no.
I haven't lost any of it yet.
I think I look back on videos of me from earlier this year, and I've lost weight for sure since, because there was like a definitely I gained weight in quarantine, and then now I do like work out with a personal trainer, and like that is a part of it. So like stabilizing my home, then my mental health, which was like a therapist, like really like getting to the root of like what's wrong. And it has helped so much. And I've never been someone who like goes to therapy. Like my family just does not believe in that. But now that I'm in a position where I can invest in my health, I think getting a therapist was one of the best things I ever did. And then like meditating, journaling, a lot of just self-work and growth. And then my physical health. So then I got a personal trainer and like we work out multiple times a week. And now that I have that foundation, I am now able to focus back on career and get that back on track. And that's why I'm doing more stuff like this. And I've been focusing on gigs again because I get inquiries. I was like too down to respond and didn't.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I mean, Kyle and I have talked about this. I have this project that I do outside of all of my, card stuff. And it deals with mental health, and I wasn't really posting on it. I wasn't adding to that project, and it's been my livelihood for the past 10 years, So it's interesting when you go through, I guess we could just say like a mental health struggle, I guess we could say, whether it's depression, anxiety, panic attacks, or whatever. It affects everybody in a weird way. Some people will eat. Some people won't eat. Some people will like push away from everybody. Some people will cling on to people, So there's so many different ways that people act.
I did all of those things that you just said in quarantine. I went through like the whole spectrum of growth. And I understand it. I understand why people eat when they're stressed, and then why people like don't eat, and then why people become codependent during this time, but also isolate themselves.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And I mean, stress affects everything. It affects the way you work. It affects the way you don't work. It affects just interaction. I don't know. Did you have if you had roommates or whatever? When you're stuck inside for 8 months now, you're kind of stuck.
When you say something like that, like 8 months, that was almost a whole year. I was thinking about that actually today, like, because I was thinking about where I was a year ago this time, and my life was just obviously everyone's life was so different. And I looked and I updated my phone, to iOS 14, and they have that thing where like photos will pop up.
Yeah.
And there'll be random photos just like to remind you, because I don't know why the iPhone wants to remind you about your past so much.
Right.
Oh my gosh! See, I just swiped, and the photo that is there is of me and Andre, Steve Harvey.
Nice.
2018, I think.
Oh, man.
It's in 2018.
That's
like,
so cool.
Like this, that's like I like it, but sometimes it shows me things and it makes me sad.
Yeah,
like,
trust me. I know. The new iPhone, it's funny because it's not even like the same day. It just randomly picks the picture to show you.
This was in March 2018, so not the same.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, it's not like on this day. Yeah. Oh my god.
It's kind of like the whole Facebook thing, like people you should know, you should follow, and it's like someone that you totally hated that you date or something.
Oh my god,
that's so funny.
So I don't know if you've seen the Social Dilemma yet, and
of course.
That was, I have to say, that like really I've always known that social media, like, obviously influences you in the way that, like, it presents to you. And like, I've always seen it where you talk about like, oh, I'll talk about washing machines, and the next day you have ads on your phone for washing machines.
So
But like,
crazy.
I gotta say that whole documentary really put a blinding light on the whole premise of how this like tries to figure out your brain and how to really suck you in. It was crazy. I think we might have lost her again.
Yep.
Oh man,
That's a good social media picture though. Not looking at the camera.
yeah, very candid, very candid.
What up, James?
I say we have a good crew in here tonight so far.
What up, Heba? Yeah, 8 months. Trust me. That's saying it out loud hurts my soul.
So what we're gonna do here is we'll get her back in because I'm guessing the Wi-Fi dropped out, and that's perfectly fine. That's just how Wi-Fi goes from time to time.
You know what the crazy thing is? Maybe I'll wait for her to come back on to point this out, but well, whatever. We'll point it out again. The fact that you're in New Jersey and we're in LA, but we're the ones that have sweatshirts on and you have a t-shirt on.
I do have a t-shirt on. I have sweatpants on if it helps at all, but oh man. Yeah, it's probably also like at least 15 degrees warmer there than it is right here right now.
Yeah, it's actually been cold here.
Yeah, but like what's cold for you? Like that's my question.
Well, all right. Well, let's say this. So cold for me is obviously I'm from Boston, so I know what cold is.
Yeah.
But my body has definitely adjusted, and now I think, I mean, cold is I have to put on a sweatshirt, like comparatively to I have to put on gloves, a hat, earmuffs, 74 layers underneath my jacket. That's a different cold. But when it goes from 100 degrees to 60 degrees, 65 degrees, it gets a little chilly.
Yeah, I mean it's 46 here now, so
nice.
Welcome back.
I'm so sorry. I don't know.
You know what? I will tell you right now, you don't even have to apologize. Steve and I can literally talk to each other for hours on end. So if this happens again, we will continue to entertain. People come back. We were literally just talking about the fact that like you and Steve were both in hoodies and I'm in a t-shirt. And it's probably like at least 20 degrees warmer up by you guys right now than it is by me. So
I mean, it was warm-ish today. It was kind of cold, but yeah, it's like
it was warmer today.
Heater running, so it's just like I was really hot on that.
It's 46 outside right now.
I don't have my heat running.
So we left off on the social dilemma and just the way that whole documentary really shined a light on the way social media tries to obviously figure out the way your brain works and keep you like locked into this. And like even like with the picture stuff, like at least Facebook will be like this day 2 years ago, or like again, like, oh, know these people. Like it's driving that whole nostalgia factor, which is just crazy.
Yeah, I think humanity, we really like nostalgia.
Yeah, I mean that's what we have. We have to connect. We have to relate to something, right? We have to. That's how we kind of, I don't know. I guess feel more for something, whether it's a product, whether it's a story, a movie, or something like that. I think it has to be relatable to us, whether it's through our past, like the smell of our grandmother's kitchen, or it kind of just makes us like things more if we can kind of picture it in our past.
Absolutely. But so kind of to touch on real quick, because I know we don't, I feel like a lot of interviews, and we've discussed this already, kind of touch on the same things. But I do think for general background, for people who aren't familiar with you for whatever reason, how did you kind of get into the idea of magic and deciding to make it a career? I mean, and with that in mind, I think, out of most of the people we've had on the show, most of the people we've talked with who are professional magicians, you're definitely on the younger side of it. You and Heba, who's in the chat, who I know you've worked with Heba a little bit on some TikTok collab. Yeah, Heba's an absolutely amazing performer.
Heba's a homegirl.
She is. We love her. And, being in that kind of younger bracket, I think a lot of people aren't so young and realizing what they want to do with their life. How did you kind of get there?
I didn't. I think I'm still figuring it out. I mean, I literally didn't see myself doing this. It wasn't like, oh, I want to be a magician when I grow up. I just happened to find cardistry. I found cardistry first, and then I got into magic. And to me, I thought you know, I thought it looked so cool, and I liked making videos. Like at the time I was really into like video editing. So I would like make videos and I just put them out there for fun. It was never with the intention of like being like anything. I just did it because I like to do it. And then eventually it was getting like traction. Like they would, some would go viral or some would be featured on like big pages. And that's when it picked up on its own. But there was like never a moment that I was like, this is what I want to do when I grow up. It was always just like me doing it on the side for fun. And then I was going to college and I was going to become an accountant. And thank God I didn't do that. I was going to become a CPA because I was good at math. And I just felt like it was the thing that I would hate the least.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Math? I'm like,
that was a really bad way to look at it. Like I thought I'm going to be a really good accountant, but I'm not going to love it. And that was seriously, I just really didn't see myself doing that. And I, at the same time, I was making videos. Like they didn't really like, I had like 5,000 followers when I moved out to LA, and I just like reached out to people to collab, and that's how it started. And I just was like, this is what I like to do. Actually, you know what? The moment that it hit me was I was in class. This is actually before I was in school. I did Steve Harvey with Andre.
All right.
And I had like a midterm the next day. And I just felt like I went and did my midterm, and I literally was sitting there thinking like, dude, I was just on Steve Harvey. You know, everyone in my class does not know what I do. Like how am I sitting here right now? What am I doing here? Like I feel like I don't belong here. And that was like the first time I really thought about dropping out of school. And then the second time, this is a more LA thing. I don't share too much. This was one of the most LA parties I've ever been to. And I was like really young, and I was like new to LA. I'd never been like around people like this. But I went to this like mansion in the Hollywood Hills, and I recognized like a bunch of like influencers around me. And this is like a small group. Like there's maybe like 10 people, and I don't know how many here. I'm friends with someone who lives in this house actually. That's how I got there. I'm about to leave, and someone knocks on the door, and he goes, "Oh, hey guys, my name's Austin," and then walks out. It's Post Malone. His name is Austin. And I was like, I double take, and I was like, was that Post Malone? Like I was so confused, and I run, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Post Malone. And I'm just like this.
Welcome to LA, right?
Yeah, and it was really cool. And then I got to show him magic, and he had like a signed card from David Blaine in his wallet that he kept.
Oh man, that's awesome.
That's a perfect interlude right there.
So he's into magic. Like he's seen magic a few times. And I just remember being there, and like I'm sure, and then we're all hanging out until like maybe like 4 a.m. or like wherever like this, and there's only like a few of us, and then like 30 girls show up. So then I was like really like awkwardly intimidated because I was just like this little magic girl. Like I was just there hanging out with my friend. Like I didn't know this was gonna be a party, but then this is like I guess how LA works. Like 30 girls show up, they take away everybody's phone except for mine, or like everyone who was there already. But any girls that just showed up, like security had taken their phones away so they can take pictures. So like when I had my phone out, like they were like, "Wait, how do you have your phone?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, they took ours away at the door." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I guess I've been here all day." So they didn't ask me. So it was like just a really weird LA night that really made me go like, "Wow, I live in Hollywood." And I literally from that moment, the next day I had class at 8 a.m. and I was out all night, and I was like sitting in class. Then I would go to class. Like my rule was that like if I am going to have fun, like I also need to have my priorities straight. So I would still go to class. I was still like a good student. I still did my responsibilities. But I sat in class that morning after being out with like for hours, and I was like, this can't be my life. Like what? I was just hanging out with Post Malone last night. What the heck? Like why am I sitting in class? Like what am I doing here? Like I don't relate to anybody here. I'm not going to do this. Like, I don't need school for what I want to do.
Right.
Like, I feel like so many people, like, like if you want to do school, like do it. I am so about higher education. I was so sure I was gonna finish, but I like came to the terms of like if I'm gonna not finish school, then I better do something really successfully to where no one can say anything to me about not going to school. Like I don't want people to be able to, like my family, because I'm Asian, so they are super strict about going to school. So I don't want them to be like, oh well, if you had gone to school, well then you would have done better, or like if I made $1 million, my family would be like, oh, if you went to school, you would have made $2 million. Like, so I just want no one to be able to say anything. So
there's two important things I see in that whole conversation that you just said, that whole story. The first thing I'll touch up on is the fact that, of course, when you're sitting in school and the day before you're hanging out with Andre Geek, who is like one of the most inspiring freaking people that you could probably listen to. I wouldn't want to go to school after hanging out with Andre the day before either. But the big question is, did Post Malone take your signed card and put it in his wallet?
I don't think I had him. I honestly do not remember what trick I did. I was really bad at Magic. I was really bad at Magic. At this time, I was very like, I did some Magic, but I was mostly Cardistry, so I definitely just like flicked cards around, and I think I did double pass, but he's seen that like 10,000 times.
I mean, he's got a David Blaine card in his hand.
You know what? Oh my god, how did I forget this? I did the phone unlock. That was
nice.
I unlocked his phone, and I see that Justin Bieber is one of the calls on this recent. I swear to God, I was like, I unlock the phone and I go through it jokingly, and I see that it's recent is Justin Bieber in his call log. I was like, this is not real. This is not real.
Off to go to accounting class in the morning.
Right.
I couldn't believe it. It was just like,
that's funny.
I was just like, I'm not gonna be happy doing accounting. Like, this is not what I want to be doing.
No, that definitely would not have been an exciting lifestyle for sure.
You see what Brad said? Brad said you could do a trick where his chosen card reveals in his face tattoos.
That's cool.
That would have been impressive.
That would have been cool, but you would have had to know that he was going to be there, right?
Yeah, that would have taken a little bit of prep. Oh man, but I think it's interesting. That's like kind of an interesting dynamic though, where you really like that's such a different career choices there. Like accountant, and nothing against accountants. I have friends who are accountants who love their job, and again, like they're really good at math. They enjoy it, but like. When I envision an accountant, I feel like someone sitting in an office by themselves, looking at numbers, not really socializing, versus like on stage performing, like one end of the spectrum to the other. And like, it's funny though, how that kind of hit you like an epiphany and you didn't, it wasn't something you were always striving for. But I think a lot of times, and from a lot of the people we've had on the show, when you ask them, what was the moment you realized this is what you want to do for your career? It was never like, oh, I always knew I wanted to do this. Like it was kind of just a thing that they were passionate about and they've worked towards, and that passion then provides.
Yeah. I think for me personally, I knew that like this is something I will always be passionate about. A part of me will always have a love for Magic and try to integrate it in other parts of my life. But I don't know, like I never saw myself being like a David Copperfield, like 60 years old and still doing Magic and being a performer. I think at some point, I don't know when, like I definitely want to leave my mark on Magic. I want to tour. I would love to do residency, like all that stuff. Like there's a lot of like bucket list goals that I have within the Magic community. But I think at some point, I'm sure I will kind of take a step back and I'd want to like manage or produce talent. Than be the face all the time.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Do you have like a kind of a lineup that you'd like to represent in your head, or
lineup, like people?
Yeah, like do you have like a person kind of like the top 3 people that you'd be like, I'd like to manage them or represent them in certain capacity? Or if you could represent 3 people, who would those 3 people be?
I couldn't think of one right now. I don't think. Yeah. I think right now, because I am the talent right now. I'm the artist. Like I feel like I'm just learning all the different things about being on this side of it, so that when I do eventually manage talent, I'm able to understand their perspective because I was in it. But right now it's really, they actually asked me this in the Murphy's podcast yesterday. They were like, we were talking about female magicians or something like that. And I was like, my whole thing of how I got started or why I even continue to do it is because I do want to inspire more people to get into it, especially girls, because I didn't have someone to look up to when I was getting started. Like there's Blaine, Copperfield, like they're all men. There was never like a big female magician to look up to. So I kind of want to be that for girls. And so I don't mind like mentoring people. I don't know if I'm a good mentor. Actually, I'm not a good role model, but to think like I would manage someone right now, I'm not ready. I would probably say I think that's why I can't answer that question. I'm not ready to manage anybody. I'm like barely keeping myself alive.
Gotta manage yourself first, right?
Yeah, no, fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. And I think that's something you can transition now.
Did you see a bacon rope?
Change the names in his phone so that his friends,
one of the people in the chat said he wants to change his all the names in his phones to famous people, so when phone names come up, they look like he's talking to famous people.
That's funny. I take that idea. That's so good.
That's brilliant.
Oh my god.
That's good.
Now you just need to find someone to go look through your phone randomly once you've changed all these names.
Yeah, I feel like that's like an X move.
Yeah.
Like you rename your exes that still contact you like a different name. but like to a celebrity name. So like when your friends are around and you get a call from this friend. I don't know. Is this a me thing? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I could see that if you're not supposed to be talking to the person, right? Then you could just disguise the name and they'd be like, "Who you talking to?" Be like,
Ryan Reynolds.
Ronald Reynolds.
I feel like putting a celebrity in that situation is going to raise more questions than instead of deferring the attention. But
because then they're going to be like, "Oh my God, what is he? What are you guys talking about?"
How do you know Ryan Reynolds?
You know, me and Ryan go way back.
I mean, hey, that would be an amazing celebrity to meet for sure. But once you do magic for him, you know, he'd be a fun one, I'm sure, with it.
I thought you were gonna move the pumpkin. I'm like, you know, it's funny. You know the funny thing about it. So you know how that little latch was up?
Yeah.
The latch kind of looked like a finger, like holding your head. So when you twirl, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Whenever I looked at the latch, I just kept thinking of like a ballerina.
Yeah, it just looked weird. I was like, I want to move it. I want to fix it.
I respect that. That's good.
So now you mentioned that, you know, obviously earlier the whole pandemic was a bit of a struggle, but it really gave you a good opportunity to be introspective and develop your routine that is a healthy routine for you to kind of go through your day. What made you decide that, you know, TikTok was a direction that you kind of wanted to go there? Just out of curiosity.
Everybody get on TikTok during quarantine. I feel like that's like the boom.
I didn't.
On TikTok already.
I didn't.
Steve refuses to get a TikTok, so.
I think it's amazing. I love it. I really do. I like it a lot. And I wouldn't say more than Instagram, but I like it almost as much for different reasons than Instagram. Okay. Instagram to me is very like bad for my mental health, and then TikTok makes me just laugh and smile. There's like really good parts of TikTok. I think some people think it's like stupid dances and like just like dumb content, but there's a side to it that's super creative, educational. There's DIYs. There's like talking videos, giving advice, or like tips, business tips. Like there's really cool stuff on there. And in terms of a platform, I think you can do like, there's editing capabilities on TikTok that you can't do on Instagram. Like it's a very impressive app.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that's really become interesting about it is I think TikTok's getting so many people interested in video editing who may have otherwise not really gotten that involved with it, which is crazy. Like
I love doing transitions just because they're so easy to do on TikTok, and I think they're just silly, but I like they're great. There's the one that's you're like that, and you're like,
it's super visual. Yeah,
there's a lot of cool ones.
Dude, they really are super visual.
I feel left out of this conversation. I'm leaving.
There you go. There's Steve's transition. You just get TikTok. You'll delete it like within a day because you'd be on it and you'd lose like 3 hours of your life because you're just like scrolling through and you're like, how did I end up here?
Dude, I scroll through Instagram and I see TikTok. I don't need to download it.
It's something else.
It's different. Honestly, like it is you're gonna get hooked. I was hooked for sure. There was a time where I really didn't open the app that much, and then I just would not stop swiping. Like the way they built it, and especially if you watch Social Dilemma, genius. They know you. They know you so well. They know exactly what content to feed you so that you keep going. And my feed is very curated to me. I'm like, this thing is listening to my conversation for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Well, and I've realized too,
people
with
like
TikTok,
Tyler create that. Creepy ass people like Tyler that know that
just because I know how to program,
and knows what to feed us.
But it's interesting because I think the one thing with TikTok that stood out to me is, unlike any other social media platform, when you get on TikTok, you drown out everything else around you. And that like really stuck to me as interesting because like I can be on Instagram and watch TV. I can be on Facebook and watch TV. It's not a big deal. I'm half and half in both. When you're on TikTok, TV can be on in the background and all of a sudden an hour goes by and you have no idea what happened in the show you're watching.
Yeah, because it's so quick.
Yeah.
And it's loud.
Well, and I think that's the thing too, is I think it amps the volume up. So it draws you in much more from a like a sensory point of view.
I think they're so smart.
Maybe it's genius.
Like it's evil, but like if an app's purpose is to keep users on their app.
Totally.
Yeah.
They have done that very successfully. They've figured out the exact formula to keep people on this app and engaged.
Well, and they also, though, they're covering their bases too, because if you scroll long enough, it pops up with a thing and it says, "Hey, you've been scrolling for a while."
I've gotten them a few times, and I was like, "Dang, like that's who they made these for."
They know they're too good at it, and they want to make sure that if they're ever getting called in front of Congress, they can be like, "Listen, we tell people they've been on too long." Like that's forward thinking right there. They've taken all of the failures of every other social media and turned it into a learning experience for building that app. Like it's mind blowing how well they've done. And now they just need to figure out how to like monetize in a heavy way for creators, and they would destroy every other social media app out there.
Yeah, monetization on it. Like if you're on the Creator Fund, I don't know. I think you have to be a really big creator to be making like really good money on it. Like obviously, I think I would just say like monetization on TikTok. Brand deals are really good right now on there because I think a lot of companies are investing more on social media marketing because of what everyone's staying in more and like social media reaches out. Because it's not like a lot of people are driving. Why would they invest in a billboard? You know?
Yeah, no, that's so true.
No, it definitely
pretty
makes
soon,
sense.
I think all of our billboards are going to be electronic anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I think every billboard is eventually going to be new.
Oh wow, are there still some
I mean, well, and so that's the thing though. A lot of them, while they're electronic, are still like self-contained. So it's not like you could beam a signal to it from a central location and change the ad instantaneously. You still have to have someone go out there with a truck and like change things out, even though it's electronic versus
I've always
paper.
wanted to see someone change out a billboard because
Like an electronic one or a paper
I
one?
wake up and there's a new one, you know? I want to see, because I'm like, I want to see, how do they get it so high? Like, how do they make it?
They literally climb up there and they use big,
like
humongous
rollers,
squeegees.
Yeah,
They're
it's
like
crazy.
huge squeegees.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see. But yeah, and I think it's interesting though, and it's funny because on TikTok, using the creators for the brand deals, you have a familiar face, and especially like you said, because it's so curated. So I remember like Sean Does Magic came up on mine. Like when I first stumbled across Sean on TikTok and I was watching a whole bunch of his videos. And then the one day I opened the app and I don't even realize it's an ad because it's Sean with a bag of potato chips. And I'm like, hey, what's he going to do here? And then it turns out to be a potato chip ad. And I'm like, well, first off, I just watched an entire ad without realizing it. Second off, like it was so ingenious because it's a face you're used to seeing in your feed already.
Yeah. It's crazy. They're brilliant, man.
Yeah,
marketing companies like learned really quick while all this was going on, and it's the scary part of moving forward. I think so many more things like this we're going to see with marketing, you know, and new ideas, and just it's crazy. It's so crazy from literally 8 months ago. The difference with how social media is done, you know. The cool thing about it is a lot of people don't need to go to their jobs anymore because a lot of people's jobs are sitting in their house over the computer.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that works out, because I hear both sides about it. People are like, oh, we work so hard to like, I don't know, people are really into like the co-working spaces, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a really big thing. Because people wanted to work together in a space.
Yeah.
That was the whole point. That's why those were really popular. And then like I heard like a lot of older people, they'd be like, oh, like, you know, you work hard to get a cubicle. Like you want that station, like what, I don't know. Someone made this argument to me. And I mean, I've never had a real job, so I could not relate to them and being like, yeah, I want to go back to a cubicle. Yeah.
The day they
I
tell
know.
me I have to go back to my desk at my office, I'm gonna be sad.
I just really, I don't know what that's like. I've worked one regular job, but it was never like, I couldn't see myself doing that. Like to this day, I do not have I have a rough routine. I think that was one of the first things I had to work on, is building a routine. Like, I don't know what it'd be like to just sit down for like 8 hours in a desk.
It's miserable.
It's as boring as you think it is. Yeah.
It's miserable. It's literally
computer for 8 hours, like nonstop.
And it's
talking
not even
about
stuff.
bad
Yeah.
for mental health. Like it's not good for mental health.
No, it definitely isn't. Well, and the worst part about it is being home now. Like my daytime job, I work for a financial services company, and I sit in front of a computer all day. But at the office, again, like you said, you have that social aspect. So you get up, you go grab lunch, you're walking through the hallways, and you end up spending 10, 15 minutes talking to people. Sitting at home, I literally find that from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., I sit in front of my computer and get up maybe 3 times. And the only conversations I'm having are for work
with me
in meeting or Steve. I mean, sometimes I'll call Steve with stupid questions just because I need to talk to someone who isn't trying to talk to me about work. Like it's crazy. But at the same time, I still don't want to go back to my office because it's nice to not have to get dressed up to go to work. So
Tyler's all dressed nice here, and he gets up and he's got like boxers on.
I took an interview during quarantine and wore a suit up top with sweatshorts. So
I love it. I think that's normal. I assume everybody like does that.
Yeah.
Because this is all you see.
yeah.
That's so true. Yeah.
No, it's definitely it's funny though because
what was that guy who just didn't someone just get caught? Who was that? Like a big news anchor or something?
What, like not wearing pants?
Yeah. Who was that?
I don't know.
It was someone like a really big new. He had to like quit it, like retire. Not retire. He had to
resign.
Resign. Yeah. I don't know if anybody knows who that is.
Yeah. So we did have a question come in here that I think is actually a good one with the discussion we were having there. I'll bring it up on the thing there. What has been the most discouraging part of your journey, and how did you get through it?
I mean, I took breaks from like the community for a while because I just felt like not very welcome. So that was like a discouraging thing where I'm like, I'm coming to this like honestly with like pure intentions of like, hey, I like magic, I like cardistry, like, and then people just like really weren't about me, and I was like, oh, that sucks. Like, it's like, why am I gonna do this when I'm like, I don't even know how to describe how I felt. And how I went through it. I don't know. I really didn't. I mean, I did, and I took a break. I knew I wasn't quitting because it wasn't like, because I did this for me. It wasn't like for other people's approval. So it didn't matter if like people in the community didn't really support me, because I knew that I would continue to do cardistry without them, without like having them need to see it. Like, I just do it for me.
Right.
And so I took a break and found people who did like support me, and it was just we're not in the community. So other friends, I started hanging out with like a lot of different people. In the very beginning, when I first moved to LA, I was at every jam. I went to all the meetups, conventions. Like, I was always hanging out. Like, my friend group was all magicians, and then at a certain point, I changed. I changed who I hung out with. I changed what I frequent and what I did, and I think that's how I grew. Because staying within that bubble wasn't going to get me very far.
Right.
No,
I feel like a lot of, and I'm sure it's way, way different than it is for men. It's different for women, but I think being a male and seeing how the community is, I think our community is great in some ways, and it's very toxic in other ways. You know, and I've seen some really amazing young female cardists and magicians literally peace out because the community is toxic. You know, and it's
not for everybody. And
no.
That's the hardest part, because sometimes even I'm like, dude, what? Like, I don't need to be doing this. I don't.
Right.
And I definitely have distanced myself from the community because it was toxic to me. Like,
Yeah.
I just, like, couldn't. I felt like there was no winning. Like, I was like there's no one on my side, and I just was like, you know what, like.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. I mean, we talk about it all the time with guests and how you know, it impacts people, and especially I think there's a lot of young people in our community, right? Like, I mean, obviously there's
what it is. It's just very childish. That's like,
yeah. No, but even the adults
like,
are childish.
what I would say sometimes I felt like was so logical, and like not like as a response to certain people, when you shouldn't respond to people who are not open.
Right.
But like, I felt like I would say things as a response to people, and like they were not receptive because there was just like they were lacking maturity and like the logical things that I was saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank
you so much, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. We appreciate it, man.
We love you, Mark.
I can see these. Wait, how do I see these? It's just, oh, Mark. Thanks, Mark. I see it. I'm on the YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah, it's interesting because you know, Tyler and I are big advocates for, let's say, equality in our community, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I think in any community, right, whether it's you know, being in LA and being in acting, or being in modeling, or being in dancing, or like for me, I was in the music industry because I was you know, shooting photos for a lot of musicians. And I think we have this mindset of how certain people are because we see them on TV, we see them in concerts or whatever it is, and we have this mindset, and then we kind of get engulfed in that, and we start meeting these people and seeing how that environment is. And I think
yeah, I
very
totally
surprising.
understand that. And see, this is where like I would say the logical stuff, where I'm like, how do people really take stuff they see online for face value? But you have to remember that not everyone thinks like some people really like see something like on social media or through a screen and they believe it.
Yeah.
So it made me more aware of how I was coming across, and being just like, I think I didn't like this at first, and people would tell me this all the time. Like in the magic community, they're like, you have a responsibility because you have a following to be a good representation for what magic is. And I'm like, I didn't ask for that.
Nah.
I didn't ask to like have followers. I didn't like, I just did this for me. The fact that so many people see it, that's not my fault. Like I didn't ask for that.
Right.
So the fact that like people are telling me like, you have to do this, like, why did you post that? Like, that's like the, like all this stuff that I was like, why, like, why do I have to please you all?
Yeah.
Right.
You're not going to please everybody. And I also had to learn that. And when I let that go, where I didn't care to please anybody and I just lived for me, there's a part that you do have to be considerate, but at the end of the day, like, just be yourself.
100%.
Yeah. No,
and
I
was going to say, I think a lot of times too, the people who are sitting there telling you like, oh, why would you post this? Or, oh, you're in a position where you have a following and you need to represent appropriately. A lot of times those are the people who at the same time themselves are not.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
No one who has ever told me this stuff, and I did get it a lot. I do get it pretty often. Those people don't post.
Yeah.
Like, no one with an actual, not even like a following, but who's active the same way I am, like, does anything. Like, they don't know what it's like.
Right.
Like, you could say, oh, like, you should, like, you know, make it more produced, or like make it clean, like make sure before you post it, like, okay, I like, I don't even know like what people would say to me. Like they're like, oh, I wouldn't post that. Oh, it wasn't like ready or things like that. To me, I'm like,
Yeah, I think there's a lot of I hate to say it, I think there's a lot of negativity under the guise of, feedback within the community.
It's like,
Yeah.
I think people like don't understand it as much. I don't even know how to describe it. I can point out videos that even I can look back on and be like, yeah, I guess that was cringy, or like maybe it wasn't the best performance, but like what am I gonna do? Like,
I mean, cringy is cool nowadays, though, right?
Well, and it touches on something.
I feel like I own my cringe. Actually, I'm about to post a TikTok. Can you guys help me? Speaking of cringe, can you guys help
Let's
me?
do it.
Yes.
Cards, I need you to do something for me. Can you bite down on the card? Just like that. Good. And then say stop whenever you like. You've never seen me do this trick before, obviously.
Ever.
No.
The 10 of clubs. Okay, I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm gonna fold it up. Alright. Ready? Your turn up. Oh.
Look how tall he is. I love how he stood up and he's like a foot and a half taller.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you guys know where this is going. What should I caption that? That isn't how to make Happy Luna disappear or something stupid.
You gotta ask Tyler. I'm terrible at that stuff.
I don't know. I'm bad at this too. I struggle through.
I've captioned it, about to make this guy disappear like 10,000 times. So I'm just like over that caption and I need a new creative one.
Let's see what people say in the audience.
Yeah, help me out, guys.
Let's
right after this.
I didn't get his card, but I definitely got his number. How's that?
But I did get the card. So and his number. But that's a different story.
No way. No way, dude. What?
Let's see what people say.
That's a sleight of mouth, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Sleight of mouth.
Wait, you should be Happy Luna.
I feel like that's the perfect caption right there. Just sleight of mouth.
That's it.
We're thinking too much like magicians, though. You gotta think about. So that's the other thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The other thing. That is where I think magicians fail to translate to the mainstream to grow. That's why a lot of magicians, they might post better videos than me, better like quality in terms of like shot, like better edits, like better skill, but they don't know how to bring it out where they're thinking just within the magic community. And that is where I didn't care. And not everyone in the magic community likes that, but that's why I grew, because I knew what people wanted. Not that I know what everyone wants to see, but I knew what I like to watch.
What catches people's eye?
Yeah, because I also I thought, what do I like to watch?
Right.
And so and what are like normal stupid things that trend? You do have to play a game of like following trends. Right. Hashtags, like there is a method to it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing that separates people in those games.
Yeah. And so some people might do like a sleight of hand video and be like, for Ace production, palming, like things that only we know what they're saying. Right. Like normal people scrolling do not know what we're saying. I'm sorry.
Right.
You wish they understood, because like to us it's like very like common sense.
It's like clever though.
You don't know what you're saying. Like, oh my gosh, I did a French drop and a diagonal palm shift with my pass, and I'm doing stack. Like, no one knows what that means.
You should title it Mouth to Mouth. There you go.
But we didn't get like, if you watched it closely, he like pulled away. He looked so uncomfortable. It's like honestly hilarious. He was like so scared. It was really good.
That's how all my videos would look. People would be like,
I was gonna say thinks I'm a witch.
Someone said lip service.
He thinks I'm a witch. See, that's definitely gonna get a response. But like,
I'm
the
so
whole-
bad at stuff like that. I
I don't
really
know,
am.
it's almost like too general. Like you do have to think about these things because like you have to try to think about it. So like I don't use Cardistry all the time because a lot of people don't know what that is. Like a lot
Right.
of people don't know what Cardistry is.
Right.
Using it to describe something or like captioning my stuff, I don't always use Cardistry. Or like when was the last time I like the reason I like thought about this was actually because I was working with this, I don't even know what you want to call them. They're not an agency. They're like I don't know, these people. And they put me a part of their deck.
Okay.
Not a playing card deck, like a promo, like pitch slide, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And they have a bunch of talent that they represent. And I'm in there and they're like, oh, what should we put? And they said Cardistry. I was like, people don't know what Cardistry is.
Yeah.
No one's
that's
gonna know.
true.
Yeah.
Don't put Cardistry. People won't know what that is. It's okay. Like if this is a deck being pitched to brands to book me, they don't know what Cardistry is.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
you need to make it digestible for them to understand. And put your ego aside and be like, oh my gosh, they should know what Cardistry is. They should look it up. Like, no, like we're not there
Yeah,
yet.
that's
We can
true.
get it there. Once I'm through the door, I can get them there. And say, I specialize in this art form called Cardistry that is manipulating playing cards. You know what I mean? Like,
Then you can give you elevator
in the
pitch.
door first before you
Right.
try to like, you know?
Yeah. No, that's so true.
Yeah, it makes it interesting to see. Yeah, I think that's one of the things people do forget. Like you said, not everyone realizes what Cardistry is. In fact, a very small population of people outside of Cardistry probably know what Cardistry is, and it's still going to take a lot of time. And it's funny.
Just in terms of like the actual like phrase.
Yeah.
When people read it, not a lot of people know.
Yeah, it doesn't trigger that visual. Yeah.
Card artistry or like you just know laymen don't know that. They just don't.
Yeah.
So I just said like I don't even remember what I had them put magician or something and maybe like sleight of hand artist or like illusionist or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows what a magician is. Nobody like, and I think
I'm sorry, it's like magicians are more popular in the mainstream.
I
yeah,
mean,
for sure. And I think and obviously, by no way am I saying that. What are you eating?
Pineapple?
Oh, nice.
What is it?
Pineapple.
Oh,
That's a great snack.
We actually got a question earlier. What are you drinking?
Matcha.
Nice matcha.
Matcha green tea is my favorite thing. I don't really.
I love matcha green tea, but I'm a yerba mate fan.
I was big on yerba. I would buy the case, but there's just a lot of sugar in it, and then so I stopped. But there's nothing that gets me more hyped up. Oh, that's a TT.
This is like loose leaf mate.
Okay.
No sugar, no nothing.
I had the loose leaf too, but like you know me, like I'm just about convenience, so I couldn't.
No. All right, I'm totally gonna give you the lowdown. Are you ready for this? This is what you do. At night, you literally brew a jug of mate, throw it in the fridge.
I love
Convenient.
that. Like the longer you steep it, the stronger it would get. So I would do that with a French press.
That's what I do.
Coffee, I would do it with the loose leaf tea and then like push all the leaves down, and I would just have like this little. It would be like 2 cups, and I could drink it really fast.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I kind of want a yerba mate now.
That's what we do.
A mood. So I just don't. I don't have any of my stuff. I don't have like magic. Like I don't have all my magic stuff. I don't have my deck collection. Like I'm in the process of like getting it all out of storage right now. And then, so I just feel like really bare. I mean, like I don't have my French press. I feel like I have the yerba loose leaf tea somewhere.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to just
once you settle
figure something out. You know what you can do? You can grab go to the store and grab some coffee thingies. What are they called?
Filters.
Coffee filter. Thank you. Yeah. Coffee filters. Put the loose leaf in it. Roll it up, and then throw that in some water, and maybe that will work for steeping it. It might work. Just put the ball pot that has the loose leaf in it. Might work.
Yeah. I do. I used to like making tea. I think it's because I know I just said I stabilized, but I really haven't made this place home that I'm living in now. it's just like it's month to month, and I think a part of me knows that I'm just kind of flexible about it. So I haven't really personalized it in any way. It's
Well,
just
you have
like,
the pumpkin and you have some decks in the corner, so you're getting
Yeah.
there.
yeah, that's as close as we're getting. No, you kind of haven't seen that. My old place was like so me.
Dude, sometimes it takes time though too to kind of settle into a place, but who knows? The month to month may very well be because in 6 months you want to be somewhere else, you know?
Yeah, I think that's how I live my life, and that's why I refuse to commit to a lease.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, there really isn't anything wrong with that. I think a lot of people live month to month, especially because being that you're obviously looking at a career right now where you travel a lot, like who knows where you'll be down the road, you know?
I really have no idea. I can't think that far ahead.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
Honestly,
there definitely isn't. I'm 45 and I don't even think that far ahead.
This is something like recently. I used to like really think about my future, and it just causes too much anxiety.
oh my God, yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
And I decided to live in the moment. Okay, I know. But someone has said, like, where are you from? Like, I live in Orange County, and they responded, I live in the moment. I could not. I was like, you're straight out of like a Hallmark card. I love it.
That's so good.
Yeah, like I did have this like awakening. I'm so dramatic, sorry. Where I really kind of was like, I don't know what the future's gonna be. Especially with COVID, I realized just embrace the uncertainty and just be like, tomorrow's not certain. We don't know what tomorrow will bring.
Yeah.
I don't know what my life will be like. I just better live every day like the way I want to and spend it doing things that make me happy and that I enjoy, because I don't know how long I have. And I know that sounds really intense, but like I really don't know how long I'm gonna live. A part of me doesn't feel like I can't envision myself growing old. So part of me has a feeling that like I'm really only here for a very short period of time, and I
don't even put that out there. Don't even put it out there.
It's out there. Like, I've honestly accepted, like, wow, it would be amazing if I made it till forever, but like,
I mean, you won't make it forever.
I'm gonna live right now, where like, genuinely, and I don't have everything. I have everything I need right now, and I currently live my life exactly how I would do it. You know, that whole like, if you had everything you ever wanted, if you had money, money was no object, like what would you do? I'd be doing what I do right now.
That's awesome,
you'd be on Deckin around
because I love making videos. I hang out with my friends. My friends are like my life. That's life. Awesome. They've been there with me through so much. Like that is what I enjoy doing. Like spending time, building connections, eating food. I love eating.
There you
go. I have a food question. Well, let's do this first before we forget. So since, you know, Stu mentioned it a couple times, let's do our tradition, okay? And we know that you don't have like all your decks of cards or anything like that, but we see you playing with one and we see a couple behind you, so maybe we can make it work with that. So we have a tradition on the show that yeah, we now's the time. What deck is it? You got to show us. Are you allowed to show us?
Oh, this is like just a box. This is not the box for the deck. So this is just a box.
Okay. What deck's in the box?
It's not any deck. It's just a prototype.
Okay.
It's a potential prototype for my deck.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. Do we get first sneak peek?
Yeah.
No. Sweet.
Well, I've been using it the whole time. No one's really noticed. It's just like
someone did ask what deck you were using.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't. It was just a draft. I don't know if I like it yet.
All
so
right.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Well, let's do the sniff first. Do the sniff first, and then we'll dive into that. Sniffer Stu.
So who printed the prototype then? Was this like an NPC deck?
Zazzle.
Oh,
nice! I have a Zazzle deck.
No, it's a prototype, guys. Like it's not what the actual deck would be like.
Yeah.
But
I printed my first prototype with Zazzle.
Kind of like an art. It's an Art Deco design. Like
I like it. It definitely has that. Yeah, it has that Art Deco feel to it. Very like Gatsby.
The catch is that Art Deco is my initials, like AD. So.
That's super clever.
When I do my deck, I want it to be a representation of me.
Mhm.
And I love the Gatsby movie. I love the 20s like era. I love like gold. And so this deck is gonna have a lot of little things that are like represent me, but I didn't want to be like, oh, Anna DeGuzman playing cards. They're gonna be like something else, so that anyone can enjoy them.
Nice.
It'll be for magicians and cardists, and I think it's just been long overdue for me to do my own deck.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's the progression, right? That everybody feels they have to do it. So I think that you're just taking your time. Is cool.
I got really insecure that no one would get it, because again, like I didn't feel welcome in the community, so I was just like, dude, people don't support me. People aren't gonna back my project if I release something. Like, so I just never did.
Yeah, interesting. I think what it comes down to is just freaking do it, and people will support you.
100%.
You know, you have a lot of support, more support than you think you have. And the cool thing about it, I think it's better to feel like people might not support it than being like, oh, people will support me, and then putting it out and then it tank. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think having that kind of humble approach to it is better than being like, I'm gonna sell 10,000 decks. You know what I mean?
Dude, 10,000 sounds like a lot. Like, I'm like, I'd be lucky if 1,000 sold.
As long as you do your first deck. If you know what? If you put out 1,000 decks and they sell like that, cool. You know you can sell 1,000 decks quick, and maybe next time you do 2,500. But I think what it comes down to is just, if you want to create a deck of cards, do something that you love and create it. You'll have decks for yourself, and you'll have those people that support you.
Yeah, because I do want to do a Kickstarter, because I think at my core, I always liked the contribution of doing a Kickstarter and having people come together to support you.
Yeah. Right.
And doing it, like, because that is like, I wouldn't be here, like literally here where I live, doing the opportunities that I've gotten without people who've supported me and who have believed in me since the beginning. So I really want to do a Kickstarter where it's not just like a transactional, I'm dropping a deck, buy it. It's like, hey, here's the campaign. There's different perks. Not just the deck is offered. I really want to just like give back and have the people that supported me be a part of that. And that's why I want to do Kickstarter. Because I know I could just print it, but it's not about just making a deck. To me, it's so much more than that. Like, releasing a deck for me is such a big deal, because it's something I've always wanted to do. Of course, I've always wanted to do. Like, that is the progression of a cardist, I feel like, or even a magician, to release their own deck. Yeah. And I've been doing this for how long, and I haven't, because I've been insecure. Like, I need to get over it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the process, right? It's you'll do your deck when you're ready to do it, and like you said, you've gone through this whole progression, and being in COVID, you've grown so much, and maybe now's the time, after this big kind of experience that you've gone through, and more confidence. Maybe it is the time to do it.
Yeah, I think there's like it's never been like the right time in my head. I'm like, oh, I should wait for this time. Oh, like I wanted to release it on my birthday, and then I think there's just like too much going on. When's
your birthday?
August 21st, which is I'm a Leo. But I've been to do this deck for years. Like, I've had the design for years. I just never did. Yeah, I've been
get that shit out.
Yeah, I've been sitting on like a few designs. I think I've like, this isn't even it. This is like what I want to. If there are any designers that want to help me finalize the design, this was just like a concept. It would be similar to this, but it's just not this. I didn't really like love this one.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many designers in here that would love to take a concept and definitely, bring it into fruition, and even add just more depth. Because I think for me, I'm not a designer. I'm not a graphic designer at all. So what I did is and I'm actually doing a deck right now. So what I did is I had a concept, and I gave it to a designer that actually is good. And what they do to it is ridiculous.
Yeah, Steve's prototype to like the final is night and day. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous, the difference that they do. And there's so many people that would love to take that design. I think obviously you can reach out to a bunch of people whose style you like, you know, that kind of fit that Art Deco style, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a tattoo. Like you want to find people that
I
tend
think
to
it's hard
do
because
that stuff.
again, because I wasn't really tapped in the community, I didn't know who to ask, and I didn't know who would help me because I just felt like no one was down to help me. And I also didn't really know anyone with like the style that I was going for. And I think also the taste of the community changes. And I felt like, especially when I first thought of this design, like the Art Deco theme, it was more minimal. Like people really were into super minimal designs. And one of my favorite decks actually is the Monarchs deck. And I wanted that kind of like old royalty, like kind of design vibe, like the Monarchs have. And I felt like that wasn't going to be super popular. And again, like feeling like no one would get it because it's not trending with what was the current taste, which was like anyone, you know, like where they were doing like the circle, like very minimal, basic designs or more geometric designs.
I definitely have a designer in mind who I think would be phenomenal for you, and I'll share their name with you after the show too, because the second you said Art Deco and the second you started talking about the style, Steve, you know, the deck, the guy who designed the Lepidopterist deck, like that has such an old like 1920s vibe to it. I think you'd love it. And I think he's a good designer.
I think nowadays, Art Deco is huge. I mean, everything that's coming out of Play, Theory 11, it's all Art Deco. You know, I think for magicians, I mean, here's the difference. Tyler and I talk about this every single week. There's very few cards that are geared towards cardistry and magic, right? Because they don't kind of mesh perfectly, you know? So what it comes down, you don't see many people doing cardistry with Monarchs, right? Let's be honest. I'm not saying they're...
You'd be surprised, like a lot. I mean, there's really popular cardistry brands that like dang, I just forgot everyone's names. Hold on. Name cardistry brands.
Dale's Grip, Lotus in Hand.
Yeah, those ones. So like they have their core cardistry followers.
Yeah.
That are more cardistry than magic, but I think a lot of magic decks definitely can be like. I feel like the Black Tiger deck is timeless. I think a lot of cardists like love that deck. I don't know.
Really?
Actually, that's why I can't speak.
Yeah, I mean, I think
there's just like that. It's different. It's like a taste thing.
Yeah, but I think it's also you know, something. Obviously, you do both, right? So in your head, you may do cardistry with you know, decks that are more geared towards magic. You know, I think there's certain.
I do get what you're saying though, because like I don't prefer to do cardistry with bikes, but I have. But I know that I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think when you do create that deck, you know, you can add elements. Like a lot of people love doing cardistry with tallyhos. Because that central element.
Example. And Tyler
because of that.
A very like magic-y deck too.
Right. And I think it's because of that central circle.
Those decks are timeless.
Right. Yeah. Same thing with Orbit.
You know what? Like, I wouldn't do magic with Virtuosos, but it's one of my favorite cardistry decks.
I love the Vert.
Yeah,
Such a good
it's
deck.
a total cardistry deck.
I think it is one of the. Honestly, I would put it out there to be like it is probably the best cardistry design. Yeah. Like decks for like I think. The way it was thought out, like the design is honestly perfect for cardistry.
Yeah, the visuals on it.
Every move you do with it is flawless.
Yeah.
I mean, look who created it.
And it like enhances the look of moves, and I can't think of a deck that does it better than them.
Yeah. I mean, the creators of it are just
they're brilliant.
Cheat cardists, some of the best cardists, right?
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, guys who have been doing this for 10 years, they know what's going to look good when and granted they've designed them years ago, but they really know their stuff. It's phenomenal.
And knowing how people think, like non-cardists, because I know that there is a part of my audience that maybe who might support the deck just because it's me and not necessarily going to use it for magic and cardistry. I've noticed they don't really like the minimal designs. Some do, some like if they have like a more like minimal taste in art. But some, like, I feel like to justify the cost, because also, like, to normal people, they'll spend $3 on a normal deck of bikes. They don't know that there's a market that will sell it for, like, $15, $20. So then they're like $20 for a deck of cards. That's a lot. So like if they see a deck that has like a two-way like design that's like super basic, they're gonna be like, why would I pay like $20 for this? Like
I say the same thing.
Like the more complex it is, like the more customized, I think they justify the cost more.
Yeah, and that's where you can start tapping into like the collector's market too, which really in this day I'd say drives the majority of the Kickstarter funding for decks. Only because a lot of cardistry decks have actually shifted to direct like sales versus Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean I know. See, I am very aware that I could wholesale to Murphy's. I have a relationship with Murphy's. I can get the deck funded if I want to. I don't want a wholesale.
Yeah.
I want to do it on my own. I want the satisfaction. And maybe that's like a bit of pride, but I want to do my first deck at least myself. And I want to go through the process and not go the easy way out. And I want to design it. I want to help fulfill it. And I want to do a Kickstarter. And it would be through me, not through a magic company.
It's the way to do it,
I think that's smart.
Yeah. Then you get the whole experience yourself, and then that way you know what the ins and outs are. And if you do decide in the future to go an easier route, if someone comes at you and talks tells you something that's incorrect, you know that they're wrong there. You can correct it. You have control over it while still stepping back and delegating to some point, which I think is awesome now. But I think so. What I'm saying though to that aspect though, I think with the idea of an Art Deco deck and what you have in mind, I think you might actually get a bigger following from the collectors community even than you imagine. And that's why a Kickstarter probably would be a good idea, because you'll get the cardists who enjoy the look and who want to support you, who will back it, but you also get the significant audience of collectors who just always are on Kickstarter looking for new decks, who are going to come across it, and you might even get some support that you didn't expect there, which would be cool.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see. So,
I would love to see, a deck that because I think when people come out with decks, they always want to put themselves in the deck, right? And I think your brand, it would be really cool to see how you transition that into a deck of cards, because Tyler and I were talking about it the other day, and we're like, obviously you're into fashion, you're into, you live in LA, you're into magic, and it would be really cool to see how that gets translated into a deck of cards,
Yeah, that's funny that you said fashion, because I feel like I have no fashion sense. Like I really don't, because I'm not one of those girls that really spends a lot of money on clothes. I feel like I spend a lot of money on food. Like I go out to food. And then like I'm not super materialistic in terms of like clothing. So that's interesting that you would even say that. But I get what you're saying. I don't know what I would have to like definitely. I'm thinking about the trailer already for this. Like I do want it to represent me.
Right.
And like, but there's like so many sides to me too, and like I don't even know where I.
It'd be hard to.
Because I wanted something a little bit more elegant, which is why I was like. Because I feel like 20s is very like classy, and I think I wanted a more sophisticated feel. Because this would also be my deck that I would like use for my shows and so after the show. So I think it does need to represent me, but yeah, with what you're saying about like being LA, like this is not very LA, but I think I can try and.
I mean, it kind of is. I think Art Deco is LA, and I think there's a huge pocket in LA that's all about Art Deco. I think, obviously, Art Deco, the high-end Art Deco stuff is so expensive, and I think maybe not the young crowd is Art Deco, but I think that older generation that is LA is all about Art Deco,
I'm getting multiple phone calls.
Now, so we brought up food several times. I want to go down the food route. What's your favorite food? Are you an Italian fan? Are you
I eat everything.
Thai food?
When I say I literally try everything. There's not one thing I don't like. I'm not like a vegan, vegetarian. I eat everything. I don't even know where to start. I like steak. I like burgers. Like I think I could always go for a good burger and fries. I really do.
So your American food, like
no,
first choice, or
I do like culture. I love sushi. I like pasta, but pasta like gets me every time. You know what I mean? So I try to post something like this, like, and it didn't do well. And a part of me like was like annoyed, not annoyed. It was just like, I know this isn't the type of content people expect from me, but I feel like it's still like it holds a higher value in my eyes. So it sucks that like more people didn't watch it. But I did like a food video.
Mexico. You start off with some bread and pesto, so yummy. We made friends with the chef, and he said that was all food.
Yeah, like it's all food.
Do it. I think the more you do it, you'll pull in people for that too.
It like barely broke 1,000 likes, which is like is low for me. So like I was just saying, like it's not even that people don't like it. I know that the way the algorithm works, Instagram probably just didn't recommend it to my followers because it wasn't what they're used to seeing.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
And if you're scrolling, you also have to think like this. My face was not in the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So when people are scrolling, they didn't think to stop because they didn't know it was an Anna DeGuzman post. Like you do have to think about these things. So I do know that is also why this didn't perform very well.
Right. It's so funny because most people don't understand the whole logic behind what they're posting, right? And it's cool to it's cool to talk to someone who has to follow those let's say rules, right? Or
they're not rules. They're like, I get what you're saying. Like,
I mean, they're not.
but they're
not literal rules, but like
it's harder to grow.
Right.
You can post like you could just. I did that with TikTok in the beginning. I did not do hashtags in the beginning of TikTok. I did not follow any sort of formula. I didn't post at certain times that people say are good. I just posted random stuff on my TikTok. Right. But if you want to grow, if you want to be strategic, then there are ways to do it properly. Like it's still organic, but it betters your chances of being on the algorithm's good side, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do, it's definitely smart to follow that. I'm so bad at it. Like literally, Tyler and I are the perfect matchup for this purpose. Is because I'm all about I'll do shit when I want to do it, and Tyler's like, bro, no, we do it at this time. We title it this way and this way. I'm like, dude, just title it this way. He's like, no, we're titling it. I'm like, all right.
I need someone like that though. I need someone like Tyler because I'm the one that's kind of like a little bit all over the place, a little bit more spontaneous. But someone needs to have a little bit of more of a
that structure behind it.
Yeah. I mean,
and then I do feel like very alone sometimes because I don't have I have friends. I have people in the magic community that I hang out with a lot. But I think, then not a lot of them get it. Not a lot of them get the social media side. And then like my other friends don't really get the magic side. So I haven't found someone who really has been able to be my partner in this and kind of guide me. I really wish I had a mentor. I don't. And I don't know, like, you'd be surprised, like you'd think people would want to, and I'm sure people have wanted to, but haven't.
Yeah.
They just don't. So
I think
it's been like maneuvering through this like on my own and figuring it out as I go, which is like
I'm sure that adds to the stress of everything for sure.
I think people are intimidated on both sides, right?
It doesn't add stress because it's like, I've always been on my own. It's fine. It doesn't make it any easier though.
Yeah.
Bacon. Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think we never know what goes on through other people's minds, right? We're all doing our own thing, and we might be intimidated by someone, so we don't reach out. And
I get that a lot, and I'm like, you'd be surprised how not intimidating I am and how approachable. I mean, I think I'm approachable, and people like at magic conventions, when you can tell people want to like come up to you and they don't, things like that. I'm like, just say hi to me. Like, it's like I'm right here. I see you looking at me. Like, just talk to me. I'm like really not that scary. I'm like I'm 5'2". I'm like literally this tall. So like I don't know what people are so afraid of. And I think a lot of my magic friends, like a lot of them, not a lot, like the newer ones, I guess you could say, like the ones that kind of met me after LA versus the ones like I met in the beginning of like my whole thing, they're like, I like you in real life more than you online. And that really hurt. Not hurt. It just got to me because I was like, what? Like, that sucks. Like, I'd like to think they're the same, but I can see how they are different. And I really like strive now for people to get to know her, like me. And
I think it's important.
Because it's really hard. I think in social media, like, of course you only see the highlight of my life. It's what I choose to share. I don't want people to like, I know everyone's going through something and I know I'm going through something, but that's why I don't want to put it out there because everyone has their own things going on. I only want to show positive because I just want to make people happy. I don't need to share like my hardships all the time because I don't need people to feel sorry for me. I want to bring people up. So like, yeah, I only show like the nice parts of what I'm doing and all this stuff. Like, yeah, I showed the Microsoft commercial, but no, yeah, I just told you guys I was like, fuck, I was homeless.
No, and I think the cool thing about that is it brings you back to humanity, right? Because a lot of people, when they look at people that they see has a lot of followers and stuff, they already have in their mind that they're a certain type of person. You know, you can't talk to them. They're too famous. They're doing all this stuff. Why would they talk to me? You know, they're not going through anything bad. So they already have their preconceived ideas of what you're dealing with, you know? So I think by you putting that out there, it lets them know.
And I think I did that for a long time too, where I was putting out a false image of me pretending to be someone I wasn't, like living a lifestyle that really I wasn't really happy. I think on paper, it looks so luxurious and glamorous, but it's so empty and it's so not what you think it is. And that world only exists from the outside looking in. Inside of it is not what you think it is. Like to me, like, I'm like, what? Like, okay, I have a couple thousand followers. What does that mean? Like, I'm like, what does that mean? I remember I got a verified check, like the blue part, and in my head I was like, oh my gosh, like I really want to be verified. I want to be verified. And then I got it. And I felt the same. I was like, oh, my life is exactly the same. Nothing. Like, you think you want all these things that like give you the
validation.
Yeah. And then you realize like that stuff means nothing. Like it doesn't change who you are. It doesn't make all the problems go away.
I mean,
I mean, that's so true.
Honestly, though, you're definitely better off for having realized a lot of this as early as you have, because I think there are people who genuinely go through their life don't realize it. You know, like it's just
And that's like, I'm so thankful for that I've gotten to be self-aware and like grow, knowing that moving forward, it's like a lot of self-work and therapy and like opening up the conversation with people, like to make them aware. I just like, I know a lot of people don't see it like that though. And I just like, that's why I look at it, where I know like, but what really pushed that was definitely when like in the beginning, a lot of people were saying like things, not things about me, but like I understood why they had a misconception of me because of what I was putting out, which was like this version of me that wasn't real. I think I was like almost trying to convince everyone I was like fine so that I can convince myself I was fine. I was not fine. Like there were times where like you could just tell like I was genuinely happy, and then there were times where it's like I was just putting it out that I was like doing more than I was.
That probably makes it more enjoyable to yourself if you're being yourself rather than hiding this other person, right? It's like putting it out, like not necessarily putting out whatever it is, but just you being able to be yourself, because it's a lot of work to like portray someone you're not.
And the thing is like there was like a weird line because it wasn't like I wasn't being myself, because like it was stuff I was still doing. Like that was my life. It was just I was making it seem way more fun than it actually was.
Right.
Yeah. No one wants to see someone doing cool stuff and not smiling. So like it's and it's that whole persona thing.
More recently, how I've approached social media is definitely more authentic, and like this is actually what I like to do. Like, this is what I do for fun. This is what I enjoy doing. I like spending time with my friends. I like going on adventures, trying new things. And I've also started to post less personal life because I've decided that is, I wanted to separate the two. If you notice, like right now, what I post is just more like content, like on brand stuff. Not that it's like not me, but I felt like my personal life, I don't like, there are things that I do like to share that I'm like, oh, this is really cool, I want to share. But there are things that are okay to keep just with you and the people you're with, and the memories just with you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's
I
something
respect that more.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have that struggle these days where they feel the need to put everything out there. And I mean, I've even seen, I don't even remember who it was recently, but I was scrolling across social media and someone made a post about the fact that like someone who, you know, had hundreds of thousands of followers and put it out there that like not everything that goes on in their life is going to be on here, because there are things that are personal to them and are things that are just for them.
I think that's the way it should be. I mean,
yeah.
It's such a there's definitely a point where it's like, I think the personal side, obviously there's stuff that's personal that you should put out to show that you are human and that you do have these normal feelings that everybody has, you know. But I think there's a big difference between putting your whole life story online. You know, you definitely be choosy
and I wanted to share, and then I go, do people even care? Like, do people like need to know this about me? Like, they like especially right now with what's going on, everyone is going through like their version of the worst time of their life. So I don't need to contribute to, like, there's so much negativity on social media. I just didn't want to feel like I contributed to it by being like, oh, like, pity me, like, this is what I'm going through. Like, that's why people are like, oh, you're posting like being out, you're posting like having fun during this time. And I'm like, yeah, because like I was happy and I wanted to share this moment. I'm not gonna post like the sad stuff. Like, there's enough of that. I'm not gonna. I don't want to do that. I don't care to post that stuff. Like, behind closed doors, I have really deep conversations with friends about what's going on with the world, politics, like a lot of social injustices. Like, those are conversations I have in person that I don't need to share. Like, oh, like, if you know when people were posting about everything going on with riots and protests, going on, like those people in real life probably don't do anything. Like, just because like you see them posting about it on social media, you don't know what they're like. The same way, because I didn't post, I wasn't having those conversations. Like, you know, like, you don't know.
And that's one of the downsides to the whole social media thing, is it does make it makes a lot of our interactions so surface level. You know, that's such a black and white look at it. Like you said, you know,
so 2D, like you only see the highlight reel.
Exactly. And you're 100% right. You know, while I'm sure there were a bunch of people posting for a lot of the stuff going on and who post actively on a lot of the social injustice in the world, who are active in it, by no means are 100% of the people who are posting
like,
that active on it.
Posted about voting, like,
but
don't say who they voted for because they don't want to let you know, because they don't want to like lose followers and like whose side they were on.
Like, I mean, it's a game, right?
Yeah, and like it's you're never gonna please anybody. So I just think, like, I know who I am. I know. So like when people like say stuff to me, like, you didn't post about this, you didn't post about voting, you didn't post about and I posted about voting because I wanted to. But I had people who were telling me like, oh, like, you should use your influence to promote voting. And I was already gonna do it, but when those people were telling me to do it, I was like, you don't know how I am an advocate for this just because I'm posting about it.
Yeah. Well, and then you're being disingenuous if you just post because someone told you to post. Like, that's and that is the downside of it, because that influence that, like you said, you know, you didn't ask for that power that came along with people following you. Like, it should be used. I mean, it should be used when you feel it's appropriate to use it. Like, there should never be a stigma that someone's saying to you, hey, you should feel bad because you didn't post about this or because you did post about that. Like, that's just...
You're never going to please anybody, I promise you. me knowing who I am and like what I believe in, that's enough for me. Like I don't need to convince other people that I'm doing something that I'm not, or like that I have to do something for society. I know what I represent. Like I know who I am. So I don't need to conform to someone else.
Well, I think that's huge. I mean, I think, Tyler and I have talked about it. It's like you have there's two different worlds, right? You have this world that we live in, and I'm talking, two worlds within our own life. We have this world that we live in where we have all our friends, all the people that love us and care about us and that support whatever we do, right? No matter what, if it's stupid or not, they'll tell us it's stupid, but they still support us in it. And then you have people on this side that's like the people that are saying you need to do this, you need to do that. They're not going to support you no matter what you do. And for some reason, sometimes we feel pulled into this world where like we need to kind of fit in both worlds, and we just can't. You can't do that. Yeah. The world we need to live in is the world that is, and Zach actually said it the other day on his feed from Fontaine. He said basically that, he used to hang out with people who just weren't.
I screenshotted that.
Yeah.
It was great.
It really was great.
It was great.
Good.
And it's so true. What it comes down to is it's like we are who we hang out with, and we are. I mean, it was great, and it's good to see him feeling good and hang out with people who care and support him.
I literally screenshotted it.
Yeah.
I will read it to you guys because I thought it was so good.
Read it. Let's read it.
I made many changes to my life in the past year. I started living healthy. I stopped bad habits. I prioritized myself. One of the biggest benefits was changing the 3 or 4 people I was hanging out with the most. My circle last year was not filled with bad people at all, but they weren't helping me be the best version of myself I could be. You are the result of the 4 to 5 people you hang out with the most. Those people better be effing great. It's not about cutting people out. It's about prioritizing your soul and your growth. I'm so thankful and proud of my circle of friends today. They motivate me, inspire me, they make me laugh, they listen, they care, they lift me up, and they ground me, tell me when I'm wrong. They help me through so much. I love them and care about them so much. You know who you are.
Yeah, it's great. I think it was awesome.
That is like the same, like I felt the exact same way. And this is like everything I'm sharing right now, these are all realizations I've had within the past, I would say, month and a half, 2 months. Like I'm just now like getting to a.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 22.
Okay, so I mean you're young. You're like
really young. I know.
You're in that time period where you're learning. Huh?
How old did you think I was?
I mean 24, 25. I mean I had no idea.
Yeah, I figured you were somewhere around like 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know I'm super young, and that's why it's like. Oh, how am I going to feel like in 10 years? Because I felt like I grew a lot in the past year. I went through like a lot of big life changes that I had to grow up pretty fast. And so that really changed me and helped me. And so reading that, I definitely did look at my circle, and that's also been what has been the catalyst for growth. I had to change who I was hanging out with and what I was doing. And that's how it even started the first time. The very first time I took a break from magic was because I stopped hanging out with magicians as much. Not because necessarily like they were bad. Right. Obviously, they're not bad people.
Right.
I just felt like I was stunted in terms of growth. And my magic excelled really well during that time that I was hanging out with magicians. I was going to jams and stuff. And then when I started hanging out with people outside of that circle, I grew my social following. And there's a balance. Mm-hmm. But, and some people I don't talk to that I used to talk to like every day.
Right.
It's weird. We're still friends, but we just kind of like lost touch because I was, giving my time to other people in a totally different like circle.
Yeah.
And even now, I'm ready for another like cycle change, I guess. Like who I was hanging out with before, I really care for them, but looking at them now during this phase of like after my growth, and I'm focusing heavily on career now, I don't see them being very beneficial, even though
That's so interesting. Yeah, that's
like
huge.
they're good socially,
Yeah.
for a good time, and there's a time and place for that. But I feel like career-wise, they're not as beneficial. I think is all I could say about it.
Yeah. No, and I think that's huge. That realization is huge. Have you ever?
You don't because they're your friends, and like you just
They can still be your friends.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
they can still be your friends. Like
the capacity that you have them in is different, and it changes dynamics. Because my best, like every year has been different. And I know some people are not like that. Some people like stay friends with the same people they went to high school with like their whole life, and that's their circle. And I've been fortunate enough to be in different like groups and really get to explore like, you know, if you like, what's that saying where it's like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm never the smartest person in the room ever. I promise. But I find myself in these circles that I'm like, I need to take advantage of this. Like, why? Like, I'm surrounded by really intelligent, successful people. Like, I need to be able to keep up. So that also does motivate me to work harder. And I got into a stage where I was definitely just comfortable and hanging out with people because it was convenient, not necessarily because they were elevating me.
Yeah. Have you ever seen I guess it's not a poem. It's kind of a poem or a story, I guess. It's called Reason, Season, or a Lifetime. Have you heard of that?
No.
Guys, everybody, make sure you check it out. You should look it up. It's called, we'll actually share it with you. It's called Reason, Season, or a Lifetime. And it basically breaks down everything we were just talking about. It goes over.
It's new. Also, like all the things I read and like look up are not new. And I realize that as much as we all feel like, oh, this is happening to us, this has never happened to us, or like me before, like life is so against me. In a general sense, like human behavior is all the same. A lot of people
never changes.
It
never changes.
Some of the more traumatic stuff and like difficulty, like obstacles I've been through. The fact when I think about that other people might have gone through it is also really sad that like other people go through the same things, because you're just like, oh, like why is this happening to me? And like other people have gone through something just as bad, if not worse, is so sad. But I've had like a lot of like deep thoughts about my existence. Sorry, so I just get really like in my head about that stuff.
It's definitely a good thing though. I mean, again, it's an emotional thing that's definitely an up and down kind of thing, but it shows that you're willing to obviously not just sit there and be content with the status quo. It sounds like the pandemic has given you an opportunity for a lot of personal growth, which I think is amazing.
I mean, that was probably one of the best things that came out of this was learning what I want in life. I think I didn't know what I wanted before. I was so indecisive. I still am, but I have a better idea now more than ever what I want and what I'm like willing to accept and what I'm not. Like I'm setting boundaries and that stuff.
Yeah, no, I think I mean I'm 45 years old, and I to this day am I notice things at random times that benefit my life, in whether it's cutting someone out, and I don't want to say cutting someone out, but just not giving them my time, right? Because they're not lifting me up and kind of
access to you. Who gets access to your energy should be much more sacred to you.
I totally agree. 100%. 100%.
And I would just give myself to everybody. And I think it just gets like so tiring when you just run out of energy for yourself. So I just have to learn about like self-love, honestly, like just being like, I have me, I got me, I don't need anyone else. And, like I still have friends, obviously, like there's people there for you, but at the end of the day, like no one has you like you have you.
100%. Well, because also no one has the same end goal in mind for you as you have for you. No one, very few people other than maybe your parents are really out there, and not even everyone has that, but out there trying to figure out what's best for you. We all because of survival and human instinct are all selfish to a degree, you know, and you have to be to succeed in life. So yeah, I mean, it's good that you've realized you can rely on friends and utilize them the way you need to in the moment and have them as a support network when you need them. But relying on yourself is definitely not a bad thing. And I think a lot of people kind of demonize the idea that you only that you shouldn't just rely on yourself, but there's always going to be times where you have to. You're probably the only person who won't let you down ever. So
yeah, because I feel like no one gets you like you get you.
yeah. And honestly, sometimes we don't even get ourselves the way we want to because we lie to ourselves sometimes. And I think, and again, though, it sounds like a lot of what you've done here is coming to that realization that like you need to be honest with yourself. Being honest with yourself is the first step to ever being able to figure out. Yeah.
Self-awareness also involves like, being honest with yourself. Like I love this kind of stuff. Like I love doing research on like personality traits or like understanding like human psychology. And to answer certain questions about it, you need to be honest with yourself about who you are. You want to answer things in like a logical, like human way. Like, of course, like I would never rob somebody. But then there's like a part of you that's like, I don't know, like there's a part of you that it could. And just having that dark part of you and knowing that it exists, but never letting it get to like that point also.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I had a friend who was a doomsday prepper, and she based a doomsday prepper, and basically
like a bunker kind of girl. Like
so basically she would carry around a huge backpack in her car with everything in it, and she was always like, "You need to get one of these because one day, like, what if something happens?" I'm like, "Listen." And this is where the theft thing comes in, like you just said. Is like, look, I understand your little backpack, but if I'm not, there's no need for me to prepare it and have it, because when that day comes, I'm just gonna find someone that has it like you and just take it from them. Like
I see, like that is the kind of person you are, and you own it, and I respect that.
I would never do it unless I need it, but when I need it, I'm sorry, it's mine.
I'm not someone who thinks about doomsday. Like,
yeah, me neither. Please.
Yeah, no, I don't. I've never understood that.
Thought about that. At this point, I'm very much like, and I know this sounds silly, but on my 22nd birthday, I don't know what clicked on that day that I just was like, I'm just gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna go with the flow of life. I think before I used to need a lot of control over every situation. I needed a plan. And now I'm like, oh, if things don't fall through, like there's no need to get upset. Yeah. Like there's something better out there. And
that's tough. That's tough to do.
There's a total opposite of that, of going with the flow.
Yeah, no. Yeah, there's a going with the flow, and then there's not giving a shit, right? And I think there's a big difference. And if you can take in, whether it's you're driving to work and you get a flat tire and you're just like, I can't change it. I just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's going with the flow, right? And I think there's definitely two opposite ends of that. And I think being aware, going with the flow, and not allowing yourself to get upset when it doesn't go the way you plan it to, I think is definitely beneficial.
Yeah. Are people still here? Hi.
They are.
Oh, yeah.
There's like 33 people watching live right now, and you stuck around for the past like almost 2 hours. You're a champ.
Yeah, actually, Caitlin's one of our what's the word I'm looking for? So this is what happens when you turn 45, Anna. Get ready.
She's
for this, okay?
one of our former guests.
You forget? But she's
a regular participant in our chat. Yeah, she's a regular.
Well, if you made it this far, I want to just say thank you, and also you guys are the first to know about my deck that eventually will come out whenever I decide to do it, and I'm going to be doing YouTube more, so stay tuned.
Yes, we need to get into that, but before we do, let's ask Caitlin's question.
I can pull it up right here. Yeah.
Awesome.
How would you say magic and cardistry have helped you deal with stress and anxiety in your day-to-day life?
It's definitely just given me an outlet to kind of distract myself in a good way. I love watching magic. I think I do enjoy being fooled still, and I would watch magic shows all the time just to enjoy it. Same with cardistry. There's a tranquility in just having a deck of cards in my hand, like fiddling and stuff. I do enjoy I can like space out for hours, not knowing how long I've been sitting there, like just flipping around the cards and practicing. Not even practicing. I feel like practicing means intention. Like I just end up sitting there for so long, just not even realizing how long I'm going, flipping the cards, like in my head about like moves. And so with anxiety, I didn't know I had anxiety. I don't think I did until like last year. Like I went my whole life, honestly, I would say I wasn't a very anxious. Maybe I was, and I wasn't aware. I think I only really got anxiety
when you moved to LA.
And I've definitely learned how to cope with it. It wasn't necessarily through magic and cardistry. It was through being in the moment and just not overthinking. It's just so, and it's so easy to say. And in the moment, it's really hard to get out of an anxiety attack, but really just catching yourself and being like, this is all in my head.
Yeah. And just breathing through it, right?
Breathing, catching yourself. There's like a lot of like tips about anxiety, like, oh, just like start noticing things in the room and like describing them and breathe, drink water. Like, I'm not someone who could really say those. I don't know how that stuff works, but for me, I just catch myself and I'm like, snap out of it, girl. Like, you got to figure it out. Like, everything's fine. Yeah. And a lot of the times things are fine and they're not as big as we play them up in our head, even though they feel like world life changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true.
Well, yeah, and again, though, that goes to the idea that most people are thinking about themselves. So for you, it is life changing because it's your life.
It's you are the center. When people are like, you're the center, like center of attention. You are the center of attention in your world. Yeah, it's your world. It's your life. But yeah, people aren't thinking about you half as much as you think they are.
Oh my God, absolutely.
That's for damn sure.
A part of your ego really wants to think like they're talking about you. They probably aren't.
Yeah.
No, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares. Those times you see people and you make eye contact or they're looking at you, they're very likely looking past you at something else, or they just happen to look up at the same time you looked up, stuff like that. Yeah, it's crazy how much we get in our heads.
Yeah, you want to believe that they are thinking of you, or like that your life matters. No offense.
Well, no, and I think that's probably something that every person at some point or another struggles with, and it kind of ties to the whole like idea of what is the purpose of all of this? You know, why? You know, we do look for that validation of our existence in everything we do to some extent or another.
Yeah, I really had to let that go because I would always be one like, yeah, just like it is so freeing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. I really could not tell you. It was almost like one day it was a switch. It's a gradual process still where I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But I do catch things now that I'm like, it's not even worth getting upset over or like reacting, because we can't control other people, but we control how we react to the situation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now, obviously, you know, whether you're sitting on the couch and you're playing with cards or whatever, what do you do outside of magic, outside of cards, outside that kind of grounds you, that helps you? You know, you said you did meditation and stuff like that, but what other hobbies and things do you like to do, that you're passionate about?
Cooking. I like to cook.
Do you cook a lot, or?
I do cook a lot. I honestly cook for like way too many people, and you just eat it all by myself. Yeah, I like trying new recipes. Like honestly, my like video history on YouTube is all like, recipe tutorials, like cooking videos. I've wanted to do food content, but I was discouraged because I felt like, oh, people know me to do magic. Like, what business do I have like doing food? but I'm figuring out a way to incorporate both. Soon, hopefully on the YouTube channel, I'll try to do something that's like related to both, because I understand like my core is magic. I don't want to turn off a lot of the people that already follow me, because I know
Right.
that is what value they're getting from me. But I do want to share my other interests and hobbies. I do I used to travel a lot. I love travel. I like experiencing new cultures. I don't think I've ever been like this. I was in LA for the most part, for all of quarantine. Different parts of it, like up north in like San Francisco, Sacramento, and then Big Sur last week, and then
Nice.
Orange County, Newport Beach, San Diego, Palm Springs. So like I still stay within California for quarantine. Then but before that, I would travel a lot for shows.
Nice.
I miss that. I do miss seeing new cities, experiencing like different places, seeing how other people live in different parts of the country and the world. I wanted to do like travel vlog content at one point, but I wasn't like really like, I like to travel, but I don't know like the type of travel videos I watch. I know I can't really produce as well. Like I feel like they're really good at giving tips on and recommendations of where to go, and I just like am wherever I am in those places.
That would be a good, that would be dope though. Like to basically this, regardless of where you are, this is cool because of this, rather than making up something or finding these amazing spots that all these people are going to. Like find the beauty in whatever it is, wherever it is you are, you know?
Yeah, it was cool. And especially with like going there for shows, I would only be there for like such a short period of time, like before my show to eat, or like after or something, like to get to explore. But I do miss that. I was able to, and I would do a lot of this, but like by myself. So I do miss traveling, and going to places and meeting up with people there.
Heba said, "Come to New York."
I think I'm gonna be in New York soon.
Don't come while it's cold. Come in the spring or the summer. Yeah. Don't come back while it's about to snow. Come back like in April, May.
Everyone and their mother was in New York for some reason during quarantine. Not for some reason. I know exactly why. It's because all the flights were cheap. But it was, yeah, I mean, like, I think about traveling now because I know it is possible. I know things are opening up again and that traveling right now is pretty cheap. But I catch myself and I go, no, I need to get everything in order here in LA first before I feel like I can, like, again, take myself out of routine, put myself in another distraction that is like prolonging what I actually have to take care of and my responsibilities here in LA.
Yeah.
I was supposed to leave the country this week, and I didn't, thank God, because I don't think I was in a position to actually like do that again, because it's just me running from what I have to actually do.
Right.
Do it again. Though. That's
cool that you realize that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so funny because my girlfriend is amazing at this, and I'm the best procrastinator. And for the past 12 years, I've been doing all the work I do by myself. And I have another friend that helps me. His name is also Tyler. But for the most part, it's all myself, and it's just like, excuse my language, it's fucking overwhelming, right? When everything is thrown on you, and you have to do all of you. Because whatever reason you can't afford an agent, you can't afford a PR or whatever. But she's really good at like every once in a while getting me back on track, right? So it's good to have people around that's like, yo, pay attention. You need to do this.
Yeah.
That's when having a life partner is really beneficial, because that's what having a partner is about. Like there's the other half that can pick you up when you're down.
Yeah, no, for sure. And don't get me wrong, sometimes when she's like, yo, get your shit together, I'm like, but she's right all the time. She's always right.
Oh my gosh. No, that's too funny. So back to the cooking thing, because I'm curious here. And you said you love to cook. Is that something that you like grew up with? Like, did now you just kind of decided on your own that you wanted?
My mom would always cook for sure, but I don't cook any. Like, I don't cook anything that she makes. Like she would make like Filipino food.
Okay.
I don't know how to make actually any Filipino dishes. I think I maybe know how to make adobo actually, but for the most part, it's what I like. If I go to a restaurant, I'll like try to recreate what I had in that restaurant,
Nice.
or I'll see like really cool ingredients at the market that I will look up recipes what to do with. Like I try to make fried squash blossoms or ricotta filled fried squash blossoms, which is like super complicated for an at-home thing, and it's something I've always had like at Italian restaurants. It's so yummy. It was okay. I did it. I would give myself like a solid like 7 out of 10. But then I'll make like healthy things when I'm in like a healthy mood, where it's like, oh, no grain banana pancakes, like stupid stuff like that. I'll just experiment, and then what else do I make? I make salmon, steak, pasta. I make a lot. I make whatever. I really do make whatever. Oh, during quarantine, I was baking a lot. Like I made bread. Do you know how many people were making bread during quarantine? I was on that trend. I made focaccia. I made sourdough. I made cookies from scratch. Like
you're killing me here because Leslie and I are gluten-free right now, and like I haven't had bread.
I love gluten. I guess
I haven't had bread in I don't even know how many months.
I mean, I don't really eat. I can't eat like that anymore. But I did for sure. I was baking these cookies, and I ended up eating them all by myself.
That's the best reason to bake cookies.
It was bad. It was really like it was so yummy, but so bad. I like dessert. I think I really grew a taste for like sweets. I don't think I really had a sweet tooth until recently, where I like chocolate. Oh, ice cream. Like I love anything chocolate. And honestly,
I don't eat chocolate.
Oh my gosh,
I haven't had chocolate in like.
Wait, you can't eat chocolate?
I haven't had any cocoa product in 15 years.
15 years? I really don't. I don't know what that's like. Crazy.
That blows my mind. Steve talked to me about this when we were at. I'll eat anything. I will literally. So I'm very much. Yeah, I'm very much an adventurous eater. Yeah, we had Andre Pashniska on. I can't.
Great. Fun fact: Andre actually is how I got my first apartment in LA because he was moving back to Prague. And he was moving back to Prague, and he offered me his apartment, which was right by the Magic Castle at the time.
Nice.
So.
That is amazing.
So when we had him on, though, like he was eating crickets, obviously, because that's his deal. And I went on Amazon right away, and I'm like, all right, I'll buy crickets. I'll try them. Like I am the person who, if I go to a restaurant, I'm always picking the weirdest thing on the menu because who knows when you'll have another opportunity to try it. Like I've eaten. The only thing I would never eat, and I feel like this comes up a lot, is like eyeballs. That's the one thing I won't touch because
that's like a fish eyeball.
I mean, I'm thinking more like, I don't know. I have this vivid memory of like Indiana Jones when I was a kid where he had to eat a goat eye. And like, I can't imagine eating a goat eye. Like that freaks me out. Like fish eye is no big deal. Like fish head even, like that's fine. But like, yeah, I'll eat anything. I used to love pasta, but now, like you said, it just hits weird. Like I get tired after I eat pasta. That's not what you need at a dinner time meal. Steve will give me a hard time because I eat just like burritos all day.
Fucker, he eats burritos and pizza every day.
I do.
Cam is in the house. OPC Cam.
What up, Cam?
What's up?
I will literally try anything under the sun. That being said, I enjoy cooking, but I am not I'm not about the idea of cooking just for myself. I don't know why. Like I like to cook for other people. I like to grill for other people.
I like to cook for other people now, but before I used to be really shy about cooking because I was scared that people wouldn't like what I would make because I like weird things, so I didn't know if people would like what I made. So I'd be so nervous when people would come over and cook. But now I prefer it. I feel like there's something about that aspect of like cooking a meal together. I do.
Yeah, for sure.
I love hosting dinners. Actually, I don't know why I'm saying that. I do.
So when all this is over, we could have you
cook a meal. Over my place. We're gonna have a great meal together.
Awesome. We'll have a potluck. We'll bring some. So here's the thing. So my girlfriend Leslie is a phenomenal cook.
Okay, me and her are gonna whip it up in the kitchen.
Yeah, you guys can do it up, and Tyler and I can just be like, brr, 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 like.
I like cooking, So and then I get to try a bunch of little things, and like whatever I don't finish, you guys can all eat. And so
That sounds good to me.
Yeah,
when I go out to eat, I like to go in a group because then you order more food and get to try more of the menu, and then like you don't get too full because then like everyone else can just like share. I'm big on like family style eating. Like whenever I'm at a restaurant and people want to order their own things, I'm like, one, I won't finish whatever I eat by myself. I can't. And then I'm like, I don't ever want to. I just want to try everything. I'm that girl that's like, can I try what's on your?
So I'm literally the person though who I won't say I don't share food. I'm very stringent about sharing my food, but I'm also the person who says if you want to try everything on the menu, let's just order everything on the menu, even if we don't finish it all. So like, I feel like a glutton saying that out loud, but like we've gotten it before, and it's like, oh well.
No, I mean, if you watched that Mexico food video I just posted, we literally ordered almost everything on the menu. We were in
way to do it.
We were in Mexico though, so therefore we can afford to get everything on the menu. It's so cheap in Mexico that like you can live like a king. So
Yeah.
Do you ever go to Boston?
Hmm?
Do you ever go to Boston?
I've been to Boston. Yeah, it's
so
right.
Next time you go to Boston, there's an Italian restaurant. It's called Maggiano's. Okay, if you ever go to Boston, just message me and I'll remind you. But it's called Maggiano's, and they literally have a la carte. So the whole point of you can go and get your own dish, but that's stupid. Like there's no reason to go there if you're going to do that. But you go there with like 4, 5, 6 people, whatever, and you literally order. It's all you can eat, and it's basically family.
Say like, I'm there.
It's family style, but it's the cool thing about it is everybody sits down and you all decide because there's like 8 different choices that you could choose, and you only get those choices all you can eat. So it's basically the family choosing what we're gonna get. It's so good. You wanna do some trick or something for us? We've had a couple people asking like crazy the whole time, so let's.
I can just do like some cardistry. Like I don't know what magic tricks do people do on live usually. Like it's really hard. I've done like a couple Zoom shows. I just really didn't like the format. I just don't. Type in what card you're thinking of.
It's definitely hard. You know, it's something that you have to learn to do, right?
And the magicians that do it, they have adapted, but it's just, I decided to focus on social.
Yeah. It's probably the smart move in the long haul. Nice.
To me, honestly, I don't think Zoom shows are my thing. I'm sure some people are doing them very successfully. They're just not.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like anything, though. It's like some people are great at like close-up magic. Some people aren't. Some people are great. You know, you just got to go with what you're good at, and But here's the thing with going back to you have to know that you're good at it, right?
That was awesome. It's those Zazzle cards. Nice.
It's those Zazzle cards. Yeah, dude, I have a Zazzle deck and it's horrible.
Yeah.
They're bad.
These don't.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah,
this is fine. But it doesn't. If you guys can feel them, you know exactly. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know exactly what they feel like. Trust me, I do. I know the box they come in and everything.
Any final questions you guys want to ask me?
So I do have one question here that actually came from Cam from OPC, who's in the chat right now. He wanted to know, what can card brands actually do or do more of to be more inclusive of gender, race, sexual orientation, etc. in the community?
Nice.
That was a loaded question. One more time.
So Cam's question is, what can card brands do or do more of to be inclusive of gender, race, sexual orientation, etc. in the community?
Well,
break it down, Anna.
I mean, it's so specific and niche that it's like card brands, what are they doing? I mean, like, just start the conversation. Like, if they have a community, like, you can obviously contribute proceeds of the deck to one of the foundations or like a charity supporting those social injustices. Like I don't know, you know. What could they do more of? Just like use the platform that they have with the audience they have to talk about it. Maybe just be aware. Some people don't really take a stance. If you're a brand and you want to take a stance and like pick a side and be honest and open about what you believe in, like you might lose some people, but you might also gain the people that also have the similar beliefs. I don't know, because I don't feel like cards and stuff are not really gender specific. Like I think we know that like there's not a lot of females in Magic and Cardistry, but it's not because it's a gender specific hobby.
Right.
We just do that. I think there's no reason girls shouldn't be into this. It's just they don't know that it's a thing that they can do. They don't see a lot of girls doing it, but it's not because they're less capable of doing it.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I think to end on a kind of standard card question here, and kind of a good question for the lead up to eventually you coming out with your own deck, USPCC or Cardamundi?
Or other,
yeah.
They're the same. Cardamundi,
Well,
USPCC.
That's stock.
Politically correct answer. Thank you.
Stock wise.
I'm gonna say USPCC, but one of my favorite decks is the Jazz Stripe playing cards by Got Magic, and those are printed on Cardamundi, and they're nice and soft, and they feel great for cardistry. So I can't say they're bad. Like they both feel great.
Yeah.
They honestly feel the same. Not the same. Actually, I take that. They don't feel the same, but they both feel good.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Cardamundi's definitely stepped up their game there.
Caitlin's question. The Caitlin question again.
What would you use to describe Tyler and Steve individually? What word would you use?
She loves asking this question.
Wait, like I was gonna say bearded, but like we both have beard, so individually it'd be like I think I don't wait a word. I was gonna have like a whole thing.
You can do a whole thing if it's easier. Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
Your podcast is opening up the conversation to more than just getting to know someone through Magic. You let them share more, and I like that. I feel very comfortable with you guys. I feel very safe. I feel very welcome, and I think that's really cool. And not everyone is like that. So thank you guys for like making me feel like that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's
That's
our
awesome.
pleasure. Thank you.
Caitlin's laughing at the bearded. She's like bearded.
It's a fair comment. I almost shaved it off before the show. I dead on.
Oh, I could not even imagine.
No, dude. All right, Anna. This is a social media question. Okay. So Tyler is known for his beard, right? Like everybody talks about his beard. Everybody loves his beard. Everything. Wouldn't it be brilliant to do a video of him shaving his beard?
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you just shaved it and didn't record it, I'd be very upset.
I mean, I would record it, but like Steve wants me to do it like live.
A live video
even better. I think you should, I was gonna say like do a TikTok transition type of thing. That's where that mind goes. But like you could also repurpose that same thing on Instagram. But yeah, doing it on live, if that's your thing too, people will watch that.
I mean, I would need a lot of TikTok practice to be able to do transitions successfully.
It's really not that hard. The basic one is like the one where you just like hit it and then come out.
Oh, is that the thing where people like have one outfit on and they duck down and then they have another one on?
There's so many different ways we can do it. But yeah, that's one.
Okay.
I'm
so bad.
To wrap things up here, Anna, thank you so much for coming on. We really do. You know, we were so excited to have you on. I think this has been an amazing conversation, and it's really just been a pleasure to get to know you better.
Thank you for actually coming on, Anna.
I know. We tried to do this like a month ago, and like, you know, but we're here now, and I'm happy because I don't think we would have had as good a conversation. I think
you know what?
It was meant to happen this way.
That's going with the flow. We went with the flow, and we're glad we did because honestly, this was an amazing conversation, and we really do appreciate you opening up as much as you did. I think it really gave a much different side than people normally see for you, and I think it's hopefully a lot of people in the chat and a lot of people who will watch this on the replay get a new look at you and a new appreciation for what you do for this community.
Not even a new look, but an actual look.
Actual
Anna, you know?
Yeah, that's me. I'll try.
Yeah.
share as much as I could. I talk a lot. I'm so sorry.
That's
Listen,
good.
it's the
Hey, you
talk
know
show,
what?
yeah.
Trust me. Talking a lot is what we do.
Yes.
And
Literally.
what are we on? We're on 2 hours and 14 minutes.
See?
Before the show, we're like,
no one's ever done less than 2 hours, so I was like,
No, we said no one's done less than an hour and 15, but we're glad you stuck it out this long.
really? Because in my head, I was like looking at the thing for 2 hours. I was like, okay, I need to hit 2 hours.
no, that's good. That's a good goal. That's a good
I
goal.
can't believe some of you are watching this still. That's crazy. If you guys watch this still, DM me. What should they DM me? Like a very specific thing that, like, if they stuck through till the end and watched this, even in the future. Should be like an emoji, like something like in the know of like decking around.
Which also,
What can
thank
we-
you again,
Oh,
Mark.
weird. Send me like
Mark, thank you.
What?
Mark
we're saying
donated
thank you to Mark again.
Mark's a good
Always
dude.
taking care of us.
So yeah,
what we
the
do?
original word that you used to describe Steve and I, bearded. DM bearded.
Yeah, DM me bearded, and I'll know you're a real one.
There you go.
And be like, you're a real one. And
You're an OG.
Absolutely love it. Well, again, thank you, Anna. Guys, stick around. We have a
Thank
quick roll here from our sponsor, and then we have 2 exciting announcements before we go out. First is going to be next week's guest, and the second is going to be an impromptu live, which we're going to talk about real quick here. So, real quick word from our sponsors.
Hummingbird Feathers mimics the shimmer of a hummingbird in motion. Meticulously created with a specialized printing process using multiple holographic foils. Stunning tuck design and sculpted embossing with master letterpress creation. Featuring limited, standard, and gilded 3-deck sets. Pre-order yours today at marvelousdecks.com.
All right. So next week's guest, everyone, coming on next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is going to be Casey Kathleen. We are actually super excited to have her on. She's obviously, if you don't know her, she's Shin Lim's wife, but she's so much more than Shin Lim's wife. She's actually picked up magic during quarantine and has absolutely been crushing it. We're excited to talk to her about her magic journey there and also just get to know her like we did here as a person. And
She is making people look bad. Like after a couple months of work, I mean, obviously she's like
she got like the
working
best
with
teacher in
someone
the
who's
world.
okay with magic, but like it's ridiculous. Like some of the stuff I see her doing.
I like her videos a lot, actually.
Yeah,
Oh
she
my
does
God,
phenomenal
she's
work.
Killing it. She's
And
like,
and she's just an awesome person. It's going to be an exciting episode. We're really pumped for that one. So guys, definitely make sure to check that out. Also, this Sunday, we are doing a special live, we'll call it, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I want to say, 11 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be sitting down with the Gentleman Wake and Lautrec to talk about his deck that is now currently on Kickstarter, the Tale of the Tempest. So make sure to check that out, guys. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the deck, the new drops that are coming with it, some of the add-ons. It's just going to be a good time getting to know Omar and Lautrec a little bit better.
yes, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for sticking around and hanging out with us. Anna, thank you. You're awesome. It was such a pleasure. We really appreciate it. Stick around for a couple minutes after the show. We have an after party.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
I'll see you guys around.
See everybody.
Peace.